Hey everyone, it's Richard, and I'm Whistleword.com, and we got ourselves an In Focus card today. Hey, look, you can see the reflection of the camera. Isn't that awesome? Anyway, this right here is the Toon Mermaid, and this one is from a Magic Ruler. Now, of course, for those of you who are in the know, the initial name of this particular set was Magic Ruler. It was first called Magic Ruler, and then at some point, not too long after Magic Ruler was released, Wizards of the Coast, which is the company that runs Magic the Gathering, they weren't crazy about the name. So they kind of said, hey, can you change that name there? Because that's, you know, our game's name is Magic, and you're saying Magic Ruler, so... Upper Deck, who was running the game at the time, was like, fine. So they went ahead and changed it to Spell Ruler. Now, for all intents and purposes, they're the same card. Whether it says MRL, which is Magic Ruler, or SRL, which is Spell Ruler. Spell Ruler usually only denotes printings that came a little bit later. This one is from the initial printing, so that's why it says MRL. This is ultra rare, and it has had a few printings. It's from what I understand here, it looks like it's had about 7 printings. Out of various sets and a couple of starter decks, I believe, as well. Now, one thing I did notice about this card is because there are 2 different versions of this ultra rare card, one of them being Magic Ruler, MRL, the other one being Spell Ruler, SRL, it looks like they've kind of diverged as far as values go. It seems like the SRL version, which is the newer version, so to speak, goes for a little bit more. It looks like they're averaging about $6 to $7 for a near mint, whereas this one, the Magic Ruler version, interestingly enough, sells for a little bit less. I've seen these for as low as $4 all the way up onto $5, and again, that's for near mint. It's a little odd to me, being that Spell Ruler is a bit more plentiful. There should be more of them, whereas Magic Ruler, these versions, you know, they were only made for a certain amount of time. And so if you happen to have one that's Magic Ruler, you're not going to find any others out there really too easily that are going to have MRL in them. Now, like I said, there are some, but it's going to be much harder, I think, to find an MRL version than it will be to find an SRL version, simply because you know, the first edition for Magic Ruler, you know, you had that run, and then you had a slight run of the Unlimiteds, which this one is. And because of that, I think these are going to be a little bit harder to find. However, like I said, as far as pricing goes, it looks like this one is actually slightly undervalued compared to its SRL twin. I still think it's worth a little bit more than $4 or $5. I would push it up to at least to the point where SRL is, which, like I said, is about $6 to $7 for near mint. There are other types out there as far as printings. Those I don't really care for too much, except for maybe the Retro Pack 1. That one's a little hard to find. There are some common versions of this card that are worth a few pennies, but nothing too much. I do actually have 2 of them in this sleeve, and I don't know if you can... Let me see if I can get my camera to focus in. There you go. This one's got a little bit of wear on the back, so this one is not mint. Look at that. Those corners are kind of roughed up. So this one is at the very least in lightly played shape. Now, like I said, there are 2 of them in here. The one here on top that you see, that one actually has the better condition, whereas the one that I stuck there on the back, like I said, it's a little more worn, unfortunately. So the one up on top, that one's near mint. Probably going to go for about $5 or so. The one on the back, since it's at least lightly played, maybe even moderately played, I'll be lucky to get maybe $2 to $3 for it. If you happen to find one of these out in the wild, either if it's MRL or SRL, I would still take it, just because it's kind of a neat looking card. I remember back in the day, before Toons had a lot of support, every time I would pull this out of a pack, I was kind of like, you know, because it was one of those where it was kind of cool to have, but you couldn't really do much with it as far as putting it in a deck. I mean, there was some support, but there weren't a lot of Toon monsters back in the day. There was this, there was Toon Summon Skull, Toon Blue Eyes White Dragon, and a couple of others for a time being where you couldn't really put a full deck together, so it was hard to play with them for the time. But nowadays, they're great collector's items, so like I said, if you happen to find one out there in near mint condition, be it MRL or SRL, add it to your collection if you don't already have one. Anyways, again, thanks for checking out the video, guys. Make sure you check down in the description for all the various giveaways that we have. We also have a link down there for Patreon. We have a link down there for Discord. Make sure to follow me over on Twitter, and make sure you subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys next time. I am the Toon Mermaid. I am now worth a lot more money than I should be, but that's okay. And a little.